This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to The Real Dish. This is the podcast where we serve up real conversations about food, health, and everything in between. I'm your host, Chef Maria, the Fit Foodie, and each week we'll explore the stories behind the food we eat, the latest nutrition trends, and the science behind healthy living for the whole you. We'll dive into topics like sustainable agriculture, mindful eating, culinary traditions from around the world, and practical tips for incorporating healthier habits into your daily life so you could go crush it. But we're not just here to talk about kale salads and superfoods, okay? Although we'll certainly cover things along those lines, The Real Dish is all about keeping it real and exploring the full spectrum of food and nutrition. No bull allowed. From the joy of indulging in your favorite comfort foods to navigating the challenges of healthy eating, dietary restrictions, and food allergies, because it is a minefield out there. So grab a seat at the table and let's dish out some food for thought together. You're finally going to find something to sink your teeth into right here on The Real Dish. Now grab a seat at the chef's table and let's dig in.
Renee Landers is a 72-year-old bodybuilder. Yes, I said it. She's 72 and she looks freaking amazing. She looks like she could be in her 20s, honestly. It's crazy. But she's a testament to the power of resilience, dedication, and the pursuit of health at any age. Defying conventional expectations, Renee began her fitness journey later in life after a back surgery and quickly became an inspiration in the bodybuilding community, but also for women everywhere. Her chiseled physique and unwavering strength are the results of years of rigorous training, a disciplined diet, and a commitment to maintaining her mental and physical well-being. Throughout her career, Renee has competed in numerous bodybuilding competitions, often placing in the top categories, proving that age is no barrier to achieving peak physical condition. But beyond the stage, she's a passionate advocate for fitness at every age and stage, sharing her story to motivate others to stay active and embrace a healthy lifestyle. She absolutely bubbles with the energy and vitality of someone half her age. Renee regularly speaks on the benefits of weight training, proper nutrition, and mental fortitude, empowering every adult to prioritize their health. Now, her remarkable journey really caught my eye because it's not just the physical, it's who she is. It's how she just exudes this passion for life. And let me tell you something, she's become a friend of mine, and I can tell you she is so active. She's always flying somewhere. She's always doing something. And I've really learned a lot from her. And in this episode, we'll dive into how to turn life's challenges into your biggest opportunity for growth, getting your mindset right so that the rest of the recipe for achieving your dreams can follow, how to persevere when people are critical and dealing with family and friends who just don't see your vision, and how to start and stick with your fit life journey at every age and stage. So, without a moment to waste, let's dig in.
Renee, it's so good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Marae. I'm so happy to be here. I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my story. I just hope I can make some difference to women and men out there, that it's really never too late. And that's really what it's all about.
You inspire me in so many different ways. You are this gorgeous, so fit, powerful presence of a human being. I think we're about the same height. Aren't you like 5 feet, 5'1"?
I'm 5 foot tall, 5 foot and a smidge.
Yes,
Yes.
baby. Power to the
Yes,
little
ma'am.
women. I think
That's
there's
right.
something about being petite. We just have a lot of power packed in our little bodies. I just watched
You are
Simone
right.
and the women's Olympic team make
Oh,
the
how
gold,
cool.
and it was just like just watching them is so inspiring. It's so like motivating. She's 27. I mean, that's
Gosh.
never, women don't compete at that age at this kind of, people have no idea how hard gymnastics is, like how much this requires. But same with bodybuilding. And that's what you've gone on to do. And I'm just so excited to unpack your story today with our listeners, because we have a lot of women and men in midlife that think it's over after 50. Even in their
So not
40s,
over.
it's like, I
Yes.
heard my daughter, Sam, getting old, and she's in her 20s, and I gave her the stink eye. I was like, don't you take that out of your vocabulary right now. But
Good.
tell us a little bit about you. Where do you come from? What's your background? What is your family like? And then we'll roll from there.
Okay, that sounds good. And so you can edit this, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking. Okay, well, actually, I came from a pretty much middle class family. We didn't have a whole lot, but despite that, my parents managed to get enough money together to send us to private school. Our own little small private school that was in our area, and actually, my dad was an alcoholic. It wasn't the most fun childhood, but my mother was just so amazing. No matter what, she always thought positive, and that's what I remember so much about her. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't apologize.
Anyway, my dad, I think people are who they are. It says low device storage is running, but I guess I won't worry about that. Anyway, but at any rate, my dad did the best he could. He was, he did what he did. He was just who he was. But despite all that, no matter what about his, challenge of alcoholism, he did go to work every day, and he gave his paycheck to my mother, and she managed to get all 4 of us kids through private schools, in our area. I was a minority in my neighborhood. We were
Where'd you grow
the
up?
few Anglo in the east end of Houston, Texas. So East Edo is what it's called now in Houston. But so and I'm still Houston. I'm a second generation Houstonian. My mother actually was born here near downtown. Her parents came over from Sicily, and there was an arranged marriage. They came over, immigrated as children, and whatever, there was an arranged marriage, and they were married, like forever. And my grandpa, Pawpaw, he was a little shoemaker. He was the tiniest little man and just so devout. And so I, grew up around that, and I had a great, overall great fun cousins. We had, I had like 35 first cousins. There was several kids in my mother's family. And, she was kind of a rebel. She actually ran off and got married to my dad, against all, rules and requirements. But at any rate, she was an amazing woman. And I always watched what she did. And no matter what kind of challenges we had, she was always thinking positive. I just remember that so well about her. And I feel like I really got that positivity from her. There's always a silver lining. And I really believe that still today. You have choices, and you can take the high road, low road, or whatever. And so I really got a lot of that from her just over the years, because we had years of challenges, but nevertheless, I'm just grateful that I inherited her energy. I'm pretty sure she was like a fireball. And one of your questions was, where do you get your energy? Well, I still remember what my mother said. I make my energy, and you really it comes from within, and it's about never giving up on yourself and just challenging yourself every day and doing what you can every day and just never giving up. So I feel like so that's kind of where I grew up, and I got through high school. I started college. I got a scholarship to a small Catholic college in Houston, and that was wonderful. But guess what? I foolishly got married at like 19, and so I kind of threw that away. But whatever the case may be, I made the most of things, and I really was always into fitness. I knew I wanted to feel good. I wanted to just be my best me. And I knew that taking care of my health, even in my 20s, I knew that was an important thing to do.
Okay.
And my mother
I want to pause right there because you come from a
Okay.
generation where, let's just be real. Like, were a lot of women in the gym and being active when you were growing up?
No, now a lot of oh, absolutely not. Now, mother was in front of the television watching Jack LaLanne. I still remember that in in the 50s. She was there. I still remember him on the black and white TV, and mother was working out to her best of her abilities, despite, the challenges with my dad. Mom, she was always ahead of her time, really positive thinking. She made zebra striped curtains for our living room when other people had traditional early American stuff. So she was just always ahead of her time. And she was into bling before anybody knew what bling was. We know what bling is today. She literally put glitter on her glasses, just to make them glittery.
So
I feel like I got some of that.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I guess, I do. That's another thing I remember about her. So she was just such a positive force in my life. So, but the thing is, and what you're talking about, women, most women back in the 50s, you're right, they're stifled. They were stifled down. They were not supposed to challenge men. They were not supposed to do any of that. And my mom managed to stay tough despite the challenges we had. And she didn't let any of that get her down. And I feel like that's what I got that from her. And I'm just so grateful I did. And, but yeah, there's no fitness going on, in the 50s to speak of, these little silly machines. You see some of that stuff on television. But yeah, Jack LaLanne and his dog Storm, I think was the name of the dog on the show. And mother was out there
I
working
remember
out
Jack
in front of that
LaLanne.
television.
He was, yeah, Jack LaLanne was a beast.
He was amazing.
He really kind of brought it mainstream, and what a compelling kind of, background to see your mom exercising and doing her best, trying to do it when no one else is doing it. So you have siblings, right?
Yes, I have.
And
I had two older.
your-
Yes. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So did you have them, kind of when you were growing up as people who influenced you?
Not much, I would say. I had two older brothers. They were like 9 and 10 years older than me. And then I had one younger sister, about a year and a half. There was this big gap. Back in those days, you didn't, family planning was sort of, non-existent. I looked up to my brothers, but they were in such a different place than me. I didn't really get a good lot of connection with them. I mean, some, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And my younger sister, she was kind of watching to see what I was doing and things like that. So it wasn't not so much that.
And where are you in the lineup of your siblings?
Well, there were two boys, 11 months apart, and then like 9 years later, I was the first girl, and then a year and a half later, there was another girl. So you could say I'm a middle child, but I'm kind of the first child of the second group of kids too, sort of like that. So it's hard to say where I fit in.
Yeah.
But I've always been kind of more of the leader type, and more of the go-getter type, probably.
Do you know if you're getting enough magnesium? Because 4 out of 5 Americans aren't, and most people have no idea how important it is, and I was one of them. It can show up as a mood issue. You can have sleeplessness or super achy muscles, or even worse, which is what happened to me, and this is a true story. I started having really severe panic attacks and heart palpitations, and at one point, I really thought I was having a heart attack. Then I found Magnesium Breakthrough through Bioptimizers, which is now indispensable in my life. And it's helped with my mood, it's helped with sleep problems, recovery from workouts, and de-stressing from a super busy multitasking lifestyle. And listen, if you're a coffee lover like I am, you really need to take magnesium because it will leach the magnesium literally out of your bones. So Magnesium Breakthrough has been a real game changer for me. And I'm going to tell you that not all magnesium is the same. Unlike other magnesium supplements that might be giving you, 1 to 2 forms of magnesium, I learned that Magnesium Breakthrough contains all 7 forms of magnesium designed to help calm your mind and help you fall asleep and stay asleep and wake up refreshed and hope to avoid the issues that I went through. I can never tell you how scary it was, and something that I will never, hopefully, have to experience again. And for my ladies who are going through peri or meno, I know you're not sleeping. So you got to take a look at this. You got to see how magnesium can really help you. And for everybody out there, not only does Magnesium Breakthrough, this groundbreaking product from Bioptimizers, help you sleep better, it helps you stay calm and focused and allows you to get things done. And for me, that's so important because I'm a super busy person, and I have a feeling you are too. For me, it's all about using best in class products, and Bioptimizer supplements are best in class. And I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't try it myself and feel confident enough to recommend it to you. But if for any reason it doesn't work for you, they're offering a full refund and no questions asked. So you don't have to say like, hey, it didn't work out for me. It's just like, hey, I don't want it anymore. Just give me my money back. They are so confident that they offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. I've never seen actually anybody offer a 365-day money-back guarantee on anything. I haven't. So really, you have no risk. Just visit bioptimizers.com. That's bioptimizers.com/Mareya, Mareya. And you'll get 10% off all the Bioptimizers products, which they have a lot more than magnesium. I take their probiotic too, which is incredible. And there are lots of other products. You're going to have to just check it out and see what you think. But you'll get 10% off. Just use my code Mareya, that's Mareya, or visit bioptimizers.com/Mareya. And let me know how it works out for you. I'm super curious. So let's go back to you're growing up in Texas in the 50s. Mm-hmm. And I think, for people to really understand kind of like what Americana life was probably like back then, would you say Grease, the movie Grease, is an accurate kind of description of what life might have been like to take people back there? Diners and roller skating and the greasers and the preppy people. And is that kind of what that's like?
I would say that's kind of the ideal idolized version of it. And there was some of that. I mean, there were the drive-ins where they were wearing the roller skates, serving us, at the car. And, there were a lot of those things that were a part of that time. Yes. I was probably still a little young. I was born in 52, but yeah, it was there. And, just so much about that wholesome family situation, that you see, and everybody had manners, and, it's, which is so different from now. I'm not saying there aren't manners now, but yeah, it was a lot more, people were a lot more respectful to one another, to their superiors for sure.
Yeah.
And, I went to Catholic school. Now I have no regrets about that. I'm not a perfect anything, as far as religion goes. But I feel like that helped me because it was a small school and we were in a chaotic lifestyle really with my situation. So that kind of kept us together. In the school, that was like everything. And at our school, of course, we wore uniforms, so we were all the same. So we didn't have a lot of what you're mentioning, but we were around it. I mean, I wanted to go to public school when I went into. I was mad at my parents for not letting me go to public school because I knew how cool that was. Those people were having fun. And but as it turns out, I'm so grateful that they sent me to the school that they sent me to.
I went to Catholic school for a little while too, and I always thought like I just want to wear normal clothes. And then when I did go to a regular school, I was like, I kind of like the uniform. I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear when I go to school.
That's right, exactly.
So kind of you get out of sort of this kind of difficult childhood, but your mom is really a rock and helps to impress upon you so many different things, including just your decision to be a positive, happy person. Can you kind of fast forward us to when did your fitness journey actually begin? Like take us to that point.
Okay, well, actually, in my 20s, I remember it. I remember working out, wearing those black leotards and pink, the whole outfits, wearing them to the gym.
So you did aerobics.
I remember I did aerobics. In fact, I wanted to open a gym when I was in my 20s. That was sort of like my dream, to open a gym. Not so much thinking about lifting weights as, aerobics and all of those things. Everybody was doing all kind of, cardio stuff. That was the big thing then. And, bodybuilders and weightlifters, that was like, wow, that's kind of far away, but I remember that would have been a dream for me to open a gym. So I know it was in my brain for so long, and, I knew I felt good when I worked out. And so I tried to maintain that over the years, but, in my 20s, so I was working out, and into my late 20s, I was active, I was on I went on to, played softball. I did some different activities that I could do just kind of on my own. In high school, I was a cheerleader. I didn't play any of the other sports. I just did cheerleading and I did the drill team. But I saw those people playing basketball and stuff. Yeah. It's a sport. It counts. Some people make fun of it, but hey, it worked for me. And I was just like, so happy to be a cheerleader at my little tiny school. But so fitness has really been there for me. And as I got a little older, and into my early 30s, I remember, just remembering like, I want to keep doing this. And I didn't have a specific game plan, but what started happening to my body was I had started having some serious back issues that I ignored, for a long time. But running became my thing. Okay. That was my thing into my late 20s and early 30s. And I was running like 6 miles every morning, getting up like at 5 or 5:30, meeting my friends. There's a nice park here in Houston. We'd all go to Memorial Park. And I did that for several years. And I ended up, that was my main fitness. You get that endorphin rush. There's no way I would think about lifting weights. I thought I'm getting what I need.
Yeah.
However, as time went on, and I got married again and I had a child. Well, so when I got pregnant with my son, I was about 33 or 34, and I ran till I was like probably about 5 or 6 months pregnant. I was running. I even did a 10K and I just kept my regimen up. I kept doing it until I couldn't do it anymore. Then I started walking, till Garrett was born, and I was just ready to start running again, after he was born. And I started running and I could get up to 2 miles. And then I just had excruciating lower back pain. I just could not go any further. And I dealt with it for a while. Then I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go to the doctor and find out what's going on here. And I went to some kind of orthopedic doctor, and he said, you have some serious lower back issues and you need to stop running because it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. And of course, you're devastated when that's your main form of fitness. And that made me feel so good. So I had to figure out what else am I going to do if I'm not going to be running. And I was also by then shortly thereafter I became a single mom, and my son was about 2.5 when I got divorced, and I had a small business that I'd had since I was in my late 20s. I have a commercial building permit expediting service. So and I'm still doing, it's 40 years later, I still have the business. But the cool thing is that child I had now runs my business.
That's so
and
awesome.
so I don't have to.
Yeah.
It is so wonderful. So anyway, but I remember going to the doctor. He says, you can't run anymore, do something else. And so I just kind of worked my way around it for as long as I could. In my 30s and in my 40s, I was still doing some aerobics and I was still walking, but nothing aggressive. And finally it got to the point where, I could barely walk, and I had my business to run. I got to run a business. I have to carry these big plans. That was part of my business, these drawings that are as big as me. And I'm sure that didn't help with my back issues, probably just made it worse.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, how am I going to run my business? Am I going to be in a wheelchair running my business? I got a kid.
Did you ever actually get a diagnosis for what was happening?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it something in your vertebrae?
Spondylolisthesis. That is the diagnosis. And there was some other deterioration, but that was the main thing. And that's kind of this overlapping vertebrae. Mm-hmm. It's an overlapping thing. And finally, after I tried everything else, I finally found, I just feel so fortunate that I found a neurosurgeon who did this one particular surgery. It's called the TLIF. And that's all he does is the surgery to fuse your L5 and S1. Those are my, the lowest and the highest in my lower back. Mm-hmm. And he looked young, and he was part of a big group. And I said, "How many of these have you done?" Because I was just suspicious. He looked like a kid.
Yeah.
But that was the only surgery he did at that group. And I finally, at 58 years old, I had that surgery. So I struggled with that for years.
Wow.
But I just kept going, and I knew, I had to do something. And like I said, I was worried about how I was going to survive and just provide for my child if I couldn't walk.
So
but I had the surgery.
You struggled with a lot of pain, for close to 25 years?
Yeah, it progressively, got worse. But yeah, and I did. And it was, it's kind of like anything else, where are my priorities? And I was just trying to get by, take care of my business, take care of my son. Yeah. But I was still working out. Garrett would see me, I'd still be doing something there. I still remember watching Top Gun. I'm pedaling on a little Schwinn bike in the living room, and Garrett's watching Top Gun with me while I'm doing my cycling. So I was always trying to do something. But yeah, I struggled for many years, and I was freaking out about it because I didn't know if I was going to actually be able to be productive. But luckily, I just feel so fortunate that surgery situation came along. Yeah. And the guy gave me the surgery, and he said, "Okay, now get your rehab, and then you can do whatever you want with a couple of restrictions." So 58 years old, I have my only restrictions after that surgery was he didn't want me to run anymore because I was just going to, bang on the surgery. And he didn't think yoga would be good because I might be stretching the titanium fusion. So those were the only two restrictions. But he said, do whatever you want other than that. And I got my rehab, and by then I'm approaching 60, and I'm into menopause, and hot flashes and everything else.
Oh wait, and, let's pause here for a second. So
okay, sure.
At 58, you had not gone through menopause yet?
I was going through it.
I was probably,
I didn't. It probably didn't start till my early 50s. Maybe 52 to 54, somewhere in there. And you have perimenopause first,
right.
So I wasn't finished with it. And I guess my family we have a history of that taking longer to go through menopause.
Okay, so that's quite a bit later than most people. So you were still kind of going through the transition into your late 50s.
I was, because I remember after that surgery, and then I thought, okay, I'm getting close to 60. I'm still not feeling great. but I want to I want to be strong now. The doctor said, I can do things. And,
Yeah.
so I actually, at that point, I went to, some doctors at Baylor College of Medicine. That's in the med center. I live really close. And these guys their specialty is kind of about hormone replacement and all kind of stuff, So I went to those doctors and I said, I want to feel good. And they put me on hormone replacement therapy at almost 60. And this one doctor, there's the pillars of health, and one of them is, your, I can't remember all the pillars, but one of the pillars was about your fitness. And I already was into it, but I was struggling. And so he got me on hormones, and then he introduced me to a trainer, Dustin Jackson. And Dustin, the cool thing about him was he knew all about how to train people with injuries. And he has his master's in kinesiology, and he's, an RMT. He's got all kind of great knowledge. And I mean, how lucky am I that my doctor introduces me to that trainer 12 years ago when I'm almost 60. And guess what? He's still training me today, 12 years later. And I am just so grateful for Dustin. I'm so grateful for that doctor who introduced me to him. And so that's the cool thing.
It's actually quite a progressive, if you think about it, quite a progressive approach, considering that so many doctors nowadays don't really have a handle. And I'm not saying all doctors, so don't come at me, but a lot of doctors don't have a handle on hormone management and natural lifestyle changes that can improve your situation. I want to really dig here because this is a big one. I want to kind of unpack the hormone piece because let me share a story about what happened to me. So I was going through peri in, I guess 3 years ago now. I was 51 and I'm 55 now. And it was, let's just say, the most uncomfortable time of my life. I felt horrible. I was so moody and so sad. And then I tore my ACL and my meniscus. And I just knew like something's off. Something is off with me. I'd never torn anything before. It was a freak accident. I was playing basketball with my husband and my son. And nothing like crazy, just like one lateral move and I hear, my knee pop. And I went to the doctor and first of all, they wouldn't even do a hormone test for me. I had to beg them to do one. And second of all, when they actually did it, they didn't even do a full hormone panel. I didn't even know where my testosterone was. They basically just said, well, it looks like you're going through perimenopause. And didn't prescribe, told me I was not a candidate for HRT, told me that I basically was going through it and that it would, quote, get better eventually. And, we're talking about just a few years ago. And it's startling to me that you can get such a different response from the same medically trained doctor that goes through medical training in one part of the country or one part of the city or one part of the community that you live in that looks so contrasting to someone else. And at that time, were you just like, okay, do I have a choice to go on HRT or am I just going to go do it? Did it seem to you well, that seems like the right thing to do and I'm going to do it?
Well, I think I knew about it. I heard about it. Okay. And I knew I didn't want to miss out on any opportunities to feel better. And I do remember back then that there was all the controversy, you're going to get cancer from HRT. That was maybe before then, and that scared so many. And in fact, I took that for a teensy period of time, probably, when I first started on menopause, but none of the doctors want to leave you on it. That's a whole different HRT than today.
It is a different HRT, and there's a lot of bad data that came out prematurely, and it was interpreted incorrectly. So, years later, now we finally kind of understand that.
Right, but not enough people understand it, and there are so many myths about it. And I feel like women women and men are missing out if they don't explore it. And I'm not saying it's for everyone, but it's been a game changer for me. I'm still on it 12 years later, and I will be on it indefinitely. Now, I get blood work done twice a year. I mean, I'm going to the top docs. I'm not going to some, body in a strip center that, hands out, hormone stuff. So,
And
that's critical.
Renee, is that a topical HRT that you take?
Well, I've kind of evolved into two things, they check it out, you figure out what to do. And I started a testosterone gel that you just rub on your skin. That's what I started with. And it was probably okay, but honestly, I'm a very frugal person, and it was expensive. And I said, okay, what is the best deal here?
Yeah.
How can I get my best deal? Because it's not covered by insurance. They're so far behind. So in general, it's not covered by insurance. So Dr. Kira, he said, okay, well, we can do compounding. Call it into a compounding pharmacy. You are going to have to pay for it, but it'll be a lot less expensive. So that's what I'm doing. And now I'm doing, after the time has gone by, a tiny injected, like zero point 0.1 milligrams of testosterone injectant, that I do myself under the skin once a week. And also estradiol cream, which is a vaginal cream.
Yeah.
Those are the two things I do. And I mean, it's so inexpensive. I mean, one vial of testosterone, which lasts for a long time. I mean, the whole thing probably costs $150 or $200 every 6 months. So when I hear people tell their story about how they're paying so much money for this stuff, because there are different methods. All I know is, you have to search it out. You've got to find the doctors. You don't just sit back and wait for your doctor to tell you stuff. And I think that's so important. It's a huge topic, I know. And I feel like that's just as important as getting the word out that, that it's never too late to get fit, because women are going to feel so much better if they do something. If it's not HRT, something. But HRT, most people can use it.
And that's the bio. Are you doing the bioidentical?
Bioidentical. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Those other ones from before, those were synthetic. And those are the reason that was dangerous. You were not getting bioidentical hormones. Now they're bioidentical, and you don't need to be worried about it.
Yeah.
And that's what my doctor said. Zero cancer.
Yeah.
Zero cancer causing.
My mom was on Premarin, which Premarin is from pregnant mare's urine. That's what Premarin stands for. And it wasn't that it was synthetic. It just wasn't nearly as, user friendly, I think, as some of the options that are out there right now. And funny enough, I still am not on anything, but I am definitely more open to it now, and going to be exploring some different options, because I want to kind of transition into really what got us together is your bodybuilding journey. And when you decided to kind of make the transition from training with your trainer and just getting to feel better health-wise in midlife, to deciding you would train for bodybuilding, which for everybody out there that's never done it, I can't even begin to tell you how challenging it is, because not only are you training, you are also posing, which posing is its own art form, and so tough. And you see people on stage posing and you're just like, what's the big deal? Well, you try and do it. True. And then you have the food on top of that, and so many other lifestyle shifts. What made you, because you were we'll take us to that age. How old were you when you decided you would start training for the stage?
Okay, so the reality is, I never thought I would ever train for a bodybuilding show. That was never in my radar at all. I just wanted to stay healthy and fit, and that's so basically Dustin started training me. We told you about Dustin, and he was training me like he'd train any 60-year-old woman. A few times a week, lift some weights, and I was probably about 20 pounds heavier than I am now. So I wasn't like super heavy or anything, but of course I wanted to lose a little weight, but I didn't I wasn't paying that much attention to my nutrition because I was a pretty healthy person and I didn't eat horrible food all the time. But as he trained me, a year or two went by and, it gets boring. You're doing these same exercises, all the same things, over and over again. I'm going, this is boring. I said, Dustin, can we do some different stuff? Well, the reality is you have to do the same stuff for your body to show to show up. And all this back and forth and all, to me, you got to do the same stuff. Whatever.
What did your training regimen look like then? What was, like, you said a few times a week, but what did that entail?
Okay, when it comes to cooking and doing it in a way that is healthy for your fit life, there's a few things that we have to keep in mind. Number one, is it functional? Number two, is it clean? Meaning, does it contain any of those yucky coatings that they add to cookware nowadays, especially the nonstick kind? We don't need that. We don't want that. And number three, is it pretty? Because, hey, if it's aesthetic, it's going to make us feel pretty good when we cook on it. And that's why I am totally digging Hexclad cookware. Talk about the most gorgeous cookware you will ever use. Plus, it's totally functional and healthy to use. Hexclad's patented hybrid cookware brings performance of the stainless steel, the durability of cast iron, and the convenience of nonstick all in one. That, my friends, is Michelin level standards with cleanup convenience, because when we're cooking at home, we don't want to be scrubbing dishes all day long either. So now you can unleash your potential in the kitchen without any limits. What I love about it, that nonstick hybrid technology coupled with excellent temperature control. You've got to be able to temper your temperature to get that great sear and to do the nice poaches. Easy care, so it's going to clean up easy, and easy cleaning. All of that with the additional benefit of being free from toxic coatings and having a lifetime warranty. This is the cookware you're going to use for life, my friends. So it's time to take a little assessment of the cookware that you have. If you have your hand-me-down Teflon cookware, it's time to throw it out and invest in a nice new set. And Hexclad is going to deliver on its promise with that lifetime warranty. I can't recommend it enough. I'm totally infatuated with mine. Can I say that? Infatuated? And I know you're going to be too. So make sure you head over to hexclad.com/Chef Maria, and you'll get up to 30% off your new cookware. Start the year off right and cook with delight. How about that for a rhyme? No, seriously though. Use my code Chef Maria at hexclad.com. That's HEXCLAD.com. And you'll get up to 30% off your purchase. You will not be disappointed.
And honestly, Maria, it's the same exercises then that I'm doing the same thing now. I'm just doing it. I'm lifting, more progressive overload and more often. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, and I was doing the same things. I mean, so it's the same stuff. But like I say, it's not rocket science here. There's just a few key things you need to do. And your nutrition, as you know, is so important. But anyway, Dustin, I was lifting these weights. I was looking, I know I looked pretty good for early 60s. That was cool. But, as time went on, a few years went by, and I'm a kind of a go-getter person. I said, is there anything else I can do? What's my next challenge, Dustin? I didn't want to get in any sports that I could get injured with, and I'm too short to play basketball. And so he said, well, Renee, I can see you on stage. That's what he said. And I said, well, what are you talking about? And he said, doing bodybuilding competitions. And I got goosebumps right now talking about it. I'm going, I don't even know what that is. I remember seeing some weird looking bodybuilder pictures way back when. And I just said, so I said, I'm going to look into that. And then, oh my God, once I researched it, And I said, there is no way I'm going to put on a skimpy, sparkly bikini and get on stage in front of a bunch of people, a bunch of strangers, and show my butt. I mean, because you have to do all that.
Yeah.
I said, there's just no way I can do that. No, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So it was no for years. I mean, from about 62 to about 68. No, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. I remember it so well. And I kept thinking, what else can I do? Well, I just kept saying no. I kept saying no to something that could have made a huge difference to me if I decided to say yes earlier. But anyway, so
that's a good one.
So, yeah. And so when I got to be about 65, I remember I went on a vacation with my girlfriend. We went to Germany, Austria, all these places. We came back and I saw some photographs of her and me. I saw myself and I saw this roundish senior citizen, in the pictures. I'm going, oh no, I can do better than that. There's a better Renee in there. I remember that. Oh no, I don't care. I thought that when you're in your mid 60s, you're just going to look like this, even if you're working out. And I said, no, I cannot accept that. And so I came back from that vacation and I told Dustin, okay, Dustin, I've got to change. I've been working out all these years and I got to do something different because, I'm getting older and I want to look better and I want to feel even better. So he got me busy. He changed my workout and I started paying attention to my nutrition. And the one big thing I did, Maria, is I set a goal to lose 1 pound. Okay, just 1 pound. And I had a little Fitbit tracker at that time, and I set the 1 pound. And I worked out, and I lost the 1 pound. And then, okay, all right, well, I'm going to see if I can lose another pound. And I set a goal to lose 1 pound. I did my workouts. We did some extra stuff. I watched my nutrition. I lost another pound. And I did this 1 pound at a time for 4.5 months till I lost 10 pounds. 10 pounds. Now, I had not seen that lower weight in years on my body.
Yeah.
And then I started, oh my God, this can't happen. I don't have to accept that I'm going to look like a midlife woman, especially since I'm working out. So that was a big game changer right there. I started thinking, man, I have just been believing some BS here about, this is how you're going to look, no matter what you do. It's not true. Yeah. It's really science and math. It's about what you're eating and, it's all about, what you're burning calories and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, and people at the gym who'd been seeing me for years, they were saying, well, what's going on with Renee? And this is a tiny gym where it's just trainers and their clients. It's not like a big gym, which I enjoy. So then I'm like, 67 or so. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I could think about this bodybuilding stuff because I'm looking better. I was already logging my food.
Feeling good.
Oh my God, I'm feeling I'm feeling good. It's like, wow, there's a difference here. Because I remember thinking I kind of looked like a wrestler when I was in my early 60s, even because I was kind of, full. I remember thinking, I even told Dustin, I said, I kind of feel like I look like a wrestler,
I have a feeling you didn't look like a wrestler.
Well, I guess how we see ourselves.
Yeah.
But so anyway, then I started thinking, okay, maybe I could do it. Okay, so then the pandemic hits. And it's like, I'm like 58, 68, excuse me. Oh my God, I'm so much older than I think about. And so the pandemic hit and then I'm freaking out because, I've already lost this weight. I'm not going to let COVID, run my life. We have circumstances, but we can react to our circumstances however we want to. And you can control how you react to your circumstances, but you can't control your circumstances.
I'd say that. That's so
I said,
good.
okay, Dustin,
yeah.
It's just the truth. People just think they have to sit back and let things happen. You have to make things happen.
Yeah.
Like making your own energy. So anyway, I said, okay, I have this big patio in my backyard. It's a big concrete kind of patio, pavers. And so Dustin came to my house and trained me and a few other mates from the gym during the COVID thing. And we trained in the back. We didn't have big machines, but we had weights. And my neighbors, I remember they saw us, running up and down the driveway, wondering what we were doing. And so this went on for a few months. And of course, it's hot in Houston, but we managed. Okay. And then the gyms opened up again. So we went back to the gym. And then I told Dustin, well, maybe I can compete. I said, okay, COVID didn't get me. Okay. I didn't gain any 10 pounds or something it did not happen. I was not going to let that happen. And I told Dustin, okay, before I turn 70, I'm going to compete. That's what I told him. I said, I'm going to do it. I was scared. Okay. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I remember it was like May the 25th, whatever. And, I said, okay, well, let's find a show. I'm not doing it the way you do it. Oh, there's a show in a year and we're going to, no, I've got a lot of things I do. I'm busy. I'm volunteer a lot. I travel a lot. I love to cruise. So I said, let's see if we can find a show that'll work with my schedule. And there was one about 4 months off, May, June, July, August. So about 3.5 months. Okay. And that's okay prep time.
Yeah.
Since I already was in pretty good shape. Right. Yeah. So we hired a posing coach. I hired a nutrition coach. Dustin could do it, but we want, you got to get your resources out there. And so I started training for a bodybuilding competition.
Okay, I want to
69 years old.
I want to stop you right here. Okay. I want everybody to listen to this right now. What Renee is saying is that at 69, she started training for her first bodybuilding competition. Okay? I want you to think about some people in your life that are in their late 60s, early 70s, and I want you to tell me if you think that it would be in their bandwidth to decide to do something so audacious. And my answer would be, for most people, no, it would not. But Renee is not your average person. So when your trainer said, okay, let's do this, obviously he had full faith in you because he brought it up. He saw this vision. He saw that you wanted to do more. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna challenge her and I'm gonna take her there. In order to get other people on board, your posing coach, and then to decide, what did your friends and family say? Like, this is what I'm really curious about. Like, what did your community around you? I mean, trainers are, okay, they know what to do, but like, what did your other friends in their late 60s and early 70s say?
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Maria. Whenever I make decisions to do things, I don't, sometimes I consult with others, but in this case, I did not tell any of my friends that I was going to compete. I told some girlfriends, I have a lot of younger friends that are like 20 years younger than me. And that little circle, I said, I think I'm going to compete. And they were like, okay, Renee, yay, but my big circle of friends, my peers, the people I go dancing all the time with, the people that I go cruising, traveling the world with, I did not tell any of them. In fact, I even went to Cabo with a bunch of them while I was in prep for that show. Nobody knew I was. Now, they already knew, well, Renee eats different, they already knew that. So none of them knew that I was going to compete because I didn't, for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't want any negative. I did not want one bit of somebody saying, Renee, are you crazy? You're almost 70. You're going to you're going to do that? I did not want to hear any of that. And the way to not hear it is don't tell it. And I didn't want to be judged because, I was one of the unusual people. I was into fitness, when I'm in my late 60s. So I didn't want any of that. So the way to do it is just not tell them. So I did not tell anyone about it. And I was totally okay with that. I can make my decisions by myself, and if there was going to be any negativity, that was going to be shut out. That was not going to be happening. And that's what I did because you cannot sell people on what you think is good for yourself or them. You have the right to make that choice, and you don't need to ask anyone's input or opinion. A lot of people do, and you want the support of your friends and family, but in many cases, you're not going to get it. So if that's what you need to do this, you need to decide, how bad do you want to do this? You might have to make some hard choices. And so that was my way of doing it. And it worked for me.
So the biggest change that happens when someone decides to do a competition The biggest change is the food. I mean, there's no like there's nothing else that anybody could point to. You can talk about supplements all day long. You could talk about the workouts. Yes, the workouts will stay consistent. You will add posing to it, but the big thing that changes is the food. Did you find making those sacrifices with your food to be a tough thing? How was that first prep and how long was your first prep? I know you said you had a few months
My
before
first
your
prep,
competition, but
yeah,
like,
it was about 12, 14 weeks or something like that.
14 weeks.
Yeah, but here's the thing with me. I'm already eating healthy, and I've already been logging my food since 2015. For almost 10 years, I have been already logging my food because and it's not hard to do. There's apps. And so I was mindful of what I was putting in my mouth every day. Now, I'm a pescatarian. I don't eat meat. I don't eat any of that. I mean, that's just my personal choice. I do eat eggs and egg whites, and I eat all kind of fish, all kind of seafood. That's my main. I mean, this is how I get my protein. Protein bars and protein powders are just, if you can't get it, I don't think protein bars should ever be your lunch or anything like that.
Yeah.
But in a bind, but basically. You got it. So that to me already, I was ahead of the game there because I was already into that mindset about feeding your body with good food. And, I was already there. Now, what I wasn't into was eating enough protein often enough. I remember I'd go to the gym and I would have eaten maybe, like a half a, piece of something, a piece of toast or something. And Dustin would say, you got to eat, Renee. And so it took me years to finally get it, that I got to eat and you need that protein spread out. So that had to change too. But the reality was for me, I was so excited about doing this after, so many years of saying no. And finally, when I jumped in, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm a pretty ritualized person, that's just my nature. So once I decided, then I got into it and I did what my coaches told me to do. And actually, I probably lost too much weight. This happens, because I was like a science project. They'd never trained a woman who was 69 years old to be in a bodybuilding show. Yeah. So they didn't really know either. Yeah. That was an unknown. In fact, here's one thing I want to tell you. So Dustin, for years, he kept encouraging me, gently encouraging me. He's such a good person. He would never push me. And the good thing is that I appreciate is he never told me when I finally decided to compete. Well, Renee, women don't usually start competing at 69 years old. He never said that, nor did any of the other people who were coaching me. But I found out this is just reality. You don't start competing at 69. But I'm grateful that he didn't ever tell me that because if he had, it could have stopped me. Sure. I might have said, I probably shouldn't do this. It's crazy. He never said that. So he was wonderful to be so encouraging for so long until I finally said yes. And, so anyway, that was really cool. So I forgot where we were going.
That's a great coach. That's somebody that just sees potential and doesn't see anything else. So, okay, so you get it becomes time for the stage and talk us through what that first experience was like.
Well, I first of all, I knew I'm signing up for 50 plus. So I knew there was going to be a lot of, everybody was younger than me, basically. But I was so excited to do it.
Was there anyone else in their 60s?
I don't know if there's anybody in their 60s, late 50s maybe. But it's been 3 years, and I've slept since then, so I don't remember. But really, there weren't many young people, many older people like me there. I mean, I was like not the norm. But anyway, I was. I thought all along, I don't know, it'd be great to win. I'd love to win, but what are the odds? But I'm going to go have fun, and I'm just going to do the best I can. Yeah. And I signed up for 3 categories. One was, Masters 50 plus and probably Masters 45 plus, something like that. And I signed up for Open. That's like all ages and the height class. You know about that. And I'm short, so it was 5'3" and under. So those are my 3 categories I signed up for. And so I knew that it was unlikely I could win anything. I mean, what are the odds? But I continued to visualize receiving a trophy. I just kept imagining it, those 3 months. It's like, I'm just going to, creative visuals. I'm just going to imagine it. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm going to imagine receiving a trophy. And so I did. I did that all the time for 3 months, imagining that, even though it was like crazy. Come on, this lady is way older and, she's never done this before. What are the odds? So, and I did the day it was time for the competition, and, I was ready as much as I could be. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I got on stage, so there were 3 times, they bring you up, and I did my first one, whatever. I did, nothing much happened. But anyway, so I did all 3 categories. And then it was like, I already put my robe on, you have your little robe, and it's time to go home. Okay. It's been a great experience, people backstage. I'm saying, oh, this was so much fun. And everybody was really nice backstage. And, not all of them knew how old I was, but anyway, so I've already got my robe on. We're all done. And, I didn't get anything for the masters. I didn't get in the top 3 or whatever it is, nor any of those categories. And I just finished doing the open. So then, I'm getting ready and getting all my little stuff together with my bag of goodies and my robe on. And then the expediter says, no, you get up here, you get in line. You're going to get back on stage. And I'm going, okay, what? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I got up there and I lined up, and so I actually won 6th place in Bikini Open Class A, and I got a trophy at that show. 6th place. It was 6th place, but it was a freaking trophy, and I still have that trophy. Right?
Amazing.
Leela Brada Classic, Open Class A, 6th place. So, I mean, I'm telling you, creative visualization, I don't know, it's a powerful thing. And that was my very first show. And honestly, after that show was over, that's when I realized that I found my people. That's what I say. I found my people at 69 years old. I found like-minded people who think like me, who care about their health, who are, non-judgmental really, and just supportive of one another.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with it then. And that was the beginning of me saying, I can't wait to do it again. And I did it again a bunch of times that year. And I'll be doing my 11th show, in a few days. And, so it's so cool. Oh, and last summer, so I've competed in some different, federations, right? That was NPC, like the gold standard of competition.
Yeah.
And I've competed in about 5 NPC shows, but I did compete with an organization called Global Bodybuilding Organization, GBO. They're in about 20 different countries. They're Texas-based, and they're very athlete-centered. So basically, last year, I've competed in 2 NPC Masters in Pittsburgh, the Masters Nationals,
Yeah, they just,
I did that 2 years in a row.
They just had them.
Last September I did it.
Yeah.
And those are big shows, and a lot of, the athletes are amazing. Maybe you've done it too. But anyway, but one thing that's really cool is I was in 60 plus, because guess what? They don't have a 65 plus or a 70 plus.
Yeah.
So I'm signing up for 60 plus. And in both years, there was like 15 plus, about 15 or 16 women in 60 plus competing both of the years that I did it. A lot of women. And that's a good thing. Now, it's not good for me because, I'm so much older, and those women had been competing for years, most of them. But at any rate, so I had a blast. I didn't win a damn thing, but I had so much fun for 2 years in a row. So when I came back from that last show last summer, I thought, okay, I want some hardware, people. I've been doing this for a while. I'm ready for some hardware. Yeah. And I knew if I found a local show that wasn't as big as NPC, I could probably get some hardware.
Yeah.
So there was a show probably within 6 weeks of the last Masters National, and GBO. Okay, they had a show, and I knew those guys because I'd competed before. And I reached out to them, and I said, well, do you have any place that I could compete in 60 plus? And they said, yeah, Renee, we've got a 60 plus and you can compete in that. Okay, fantastic. And he said, also, there's 2 shows in one day. the first one, if you qualify, you can compete in the second one for your pro card to get your GBO pro card.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, well, that'd be wonderful. I mean, I'm just happy if I get anything because it was a chance to compete again and a chance that I knew I'd get some kind of recognition.
Yeah.
So last September, I competed at GBO and I got first place in 60 plus. And then I competed that evening. Now, reality is no one else was competing with me. I had one other competitor. So I actually earned my GBO pro card last September here in Texas.
Amazing.
So I'm technically a pro bodybuilder, not IFBB. That's cool. I got my pro card, y'all. And so that happened too. And I'll be doing my pro debut at the end of this month. So I'm going to be competing this weekend in an NPC show. And then I'll be competing again at the end of the month in the GBO Atlas, doing my pro debut at that show. So there you go. So anything is possible.
Just drop the mic on us, Renee. Literally, like drop that mic, girl. I just.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, in case people haven't seen these things, this is one, and you have some, so this is one that I competed with at Masters Nationals, actually in Pittsburgh.
I like that green.
Oh yeah, it's great. And I was wearing green before everybody else was wearing green because I liked it. And I want to tell you one other thing. There's so much, and you'll have to edit a lot of this out. But here's another cool thing. I'm going all over the place. How are we doing on time?
Oh, great.
Okay. Well,
great.
Okay. So, here's another cool thing. So after that first show I did back 3 years ago, when I fell in love with it, I did a couple more shows, GBO shows, not too far from Houston. And then I got an email from a company and, they said, we're looking for people who want to walk in our, bikini fashion shows and apply if you want to. And I thought, well, all right, I'm just going to apply. I'm old and they're probably not going to want me. But I did. I sent in an application and then I got a response back that they wanted me to do it. Now, the thing about this is Angel Competition Bikinis. Okay. That's a bikini maker. They're one of the largest competition bikini makers around. And so I messaged them. I said, okay, you say you're accepting me. Now, I mean, you have to pay for these shows, okay? You get a sparkly bikini, you get all kind of stuff. And I said, you see, I'm like 16. Yes, that's okay. We're open to all ages in everybody's fitness journey. They're not looking for just women who are bodybuilders and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I just barely started. Yeah. So I went and walked in one of their fashion shows. I paid money to do it. That seemed crazy too. I mean, why am I going to be paying money to walk in their show? They're in conjunction usually with bodybuilding shows. So it's kind of like a halftime experience or something like that. And the cool thing is I never imagined that, it's like, okay, I'm going to get a bikini I can wear in a show. Well, I'm going to tell you that was a game changer too. Because when I flew there to that show, I thought, what am I going to do here? Why am I doing this? I don't even know, but I was open to it. And I met so many awesome women, like-minded women that are still my friends today. And I went to bodybuilding retreats with these women. And now Angel Competition has sponsored me. So they provide my sparkly bikinis. And I've been in several of their shows and I went to, and I'll be at the Olympia this year. Anyway, that's just another side thing that happened because I was open to it. Yeah. And that's what you got to be open. Don't be closed to things. I mean, that is how things happen.
Yeah.
So I have to just throw that in.
You're just, to me, like, I just, it's rare that I'm speechless, but I just feel like there needs to be more role models for women out there, that really just not only defy age, but really defy limitations. And the things that we think we can't do or what society tells us, like, why are you doing that? Like, that's never been done before, or, kind of belittling comments or, how cruel social media can be. But at the end of the day,
definitely,
you listen to your own truth. You kind of march to the beat of your own drum. Have you ever thought about, like, what can this impact how can I impact, like, this future generation of women who are just looking to do better and to feel better. Like, have you ever thought like, I want to coach women. I want to be, kind of that person that can then take them into the next generation?
Uh-huh. Well, I I worked so hard in my own business for so many years doing my permit business. I just want to inspire people. And I mean, that's what I say. I feel like I found my purpose here in life. And that is to inspire people, women in particular, that they should never give up on themselves, that they need to, you're worthy. It's all about your self-worth. I mean, I had my many years of therapy about never feeling good enough, and one piece of advice that I'll never forget from this wonderful therapist, she's, because I was always trying to strive to be better. And she said, Renee, sometimes you just have to say, that's good enough. So after you've done everything you can do, then you just say, okay, that's good enough. Yeah. I mean, you some of us push ourselves too much, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to have the responsibility to coach women on a daily basis or train women. I mean, I'm going to do it like this. This is my way of doing it. And I mean, that's why. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for reaching out to me, because I do feel like I can make a difference, and I want to make a big difference. And it's really going to be about talking about your, women's empowerment. You can empower yourself. I feel like everyone has this inside of them, not just me. Everybody does. You just have to dig in there and go get it. And I don't even think about aging. It's like, it's not in my brain, like I'm too old. I don't think like that. Get that out of your brain. Yeah. I mean, I say this thing, no old speak. Don't think it. Don't talk about it. Don't engage with other people. Don't even say, oh, I'm so old. Never say that.
Never say that.
It's it's the self-talk, and we can talk to ourselves however we want to. And I say, love yourself like you love your best friend, do that to yourself. You deserve it. So to me, that's just not in my brain. This getting old stuff, that is not in my brain. I don't even believe I'm this age. I just don't think like that. And anyone can do it. Okay. I'm just saying you have to believe in yourself, and you just got to block out all that negativity. Don't hang around with the negativity, negative people, whatever. You just got to let that go. Mother said, flush it down the toilet. Stay away from all that. Just stay away from all that. And I get so excited. I know I'm like going crazy. This is the Italian in me,
your energy is totally contagious. I just want to know, like, I can't imagine anybody your age, like, and not that you care, but like being able to keep up with, like, there's no way, like, I'm sure your energy, like, there ain't no 70-year-old that can keep up with you. Like, come on. And it's funny because when you really boil it down, you said something very important that I want to go back to. It's you're worthy. You're worthy to be happy. You're worthy to, feel fulfilled and to give yourself some focus. And I think for a lot of the women out there, and I was a single mom of 2 for over 13 years, we kind of go through these motions and we think like, oh, life's been hard. I've been a failure, but no, it's not it at all. It's not about that. It's about what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And I say, as long as God's got breath in our lungs, we got another day. And that's really where we can make shift happen together. And I will forever look to you as a role model and mentor from now as a friend, in just what you do and how you show up in the world. But I have to ask you, is there a, Renee Landers line of bikinis that are going to come out? Or is there a Renee Landers, like, I don't know, like, I feel like you're just getting started and you have so much to offer. Like, is there any peek under the tent as to what's coming next?
I haven't given it that much thought. I mean, sure, that would be. I don't know what I can do. I don't know. I haven't thought about that. People say write a book. I haven't thought of any of that. I've just I don't have any plans to. I mean, I'm not against the idea of it. I just want to make sure I get to still have fun every day and inspire people. And I think that's what I need to do more of, more than, doing a bikini line or anything. It's just getting out there and spreading the word, that you got to love yourself, and you've got to know that there's no limits. There are no, people put limits on, there's no limits. I mean, that would be what I would want to do, is just get the word out, tell more people, and share that, and let people know that they just never should give up on themselves. Don't give up on yourself. You have all that in here, and you can do something about it. You just have to dig deep and never give up on yourself. That's all I can say. There's not a bikini line. I mean, I'm already having a fun time with these bikini people taking care of me, so I don't even need to do that.
I love it. Well, we always end. We're about ready to wrap it up, even though I could talk to you all day. But I always ask one question to all my guests, and it's, if you could have one meal, your favorite meal, not your prep meal, but your favorite meal made by anybody, what would the meal be, and who would make it, and maybe who would you enjoy it with?
Oh my God, I don't know. This is a hard question.
You just
what
finished a competition, and you're sitting down to your favorite meal that you've been waiting to have for 14 weeks.
Okay. I feel like it all tastes good, and I don't have any favorites, but probably some kind of pasta, because I don't eat pasta much. I'm Italian, but some kind of great pasta with some shrimp in it. I love seafood, so pasta with shrimp. I don't do Alfredo sauce. It would have to be marinara, but just a big plate of pasta. Actually, I would love it if somebody in Italy made it for me, and I could enjoy it with you, because you're a food person. And in Italy, sitting at a sidewalk cafe, having a glass of wine, which I'll almost never drink, and just having a big plate of pasta with veggies and seafood in it, and maybe some kind of wonderful dessert that would be sort of an Italian, whatever kind of tiramisu or something like that. That's all I can think of.
You know what? We're going to make it happen.
Oh my God, I would love that.
Mark my word, we're going to make it happen. We're going to have a date in Italy, and we're going to do all that.
Okay, I may be going there. I'm going to compete in London September the 22nd, and I'm probably going to make that the beginning of my European vacation. That's my plan right now, anyway.
Very
so
cool.
I might be in Italy, so FYI. But we can go there anytime.
I want to know about this show. What's the show that you're doing?
Oh, well, it's another Storm show. The one I did last week, Storm International. Matt Storm he's a really cool promoter. Him and his wife are. And he has some international shows, and it's going to be in London. And I don't know much about it. In fact, right now I'm campaigning for an older category, because 45 plus is the oldest they have, but whatever. So I just heard about it, and I said, I just need to do that. There's a lot of reasons. I know we don't really have time to talk about it, but part of the reason is because women over there in Europe, they're having a harder time than we are about feeling good about going to the gym. The Italian women are, because I know some Italian trainers, and they always talk about me to their Italian clients, because these women are so intimidated by the gym. So I'm thinking, I need to get over there, get on the stage, so I can show women over there what you can do in your 70s. So that's part of the big reason that I'm going to do it, is just for that. And then it could kickstart me going to all over Europe. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
I love it. I might just meet you there, girl.
Oh my God, come on. I would love that. We'll talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it. Renee, what a pleasure.
Okay.
You are such an inspiration, beautiful inside out, and I'm just so proud of you. I'm going to get choked up now, being 55 and just getting on a stage myself for the second time, and just feeling sometimes like nobody gets me in my friend group in my 50s, that, people like you are out there just being real, being authentic, and listening to your heart. And that, to me, is the true definition of just embracing your inner unicorn. And that is my motto for the next however long I get on this earth, is embrace your inner unicorn, because that's what makes a difference in the world. So thank you.
I love that, and thank you so much. And
my new sister in fitness.
Yes, ma'am. I am here for you, sister. And I would say if anyone, I'm on Instagram a lot and I've got a YouTube channel and I'm here for people out there too who need some inspiration. So reach out to me. I try to respond. So I'm just saying I'm open to whatever people reach out to me if you want to. And you and I are going to plan our trip to Italy.
I love it. And we will include all of your links in the show notes, along with some links to some of my favorite reels of yours, doing your thing. And hopefully everybody listening will watch your journey and root you on just like I am.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal health advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice, and the views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the management. Hey, it's Chef Maria, and thank you so much for tuning into The Real Dish. It means a lot to me that you're here. I hope today's episode has inspired you to take some proactive steps towards a healthier and happier you. Because just remember, bite-sized changes can lead to big transformations. But before you go, would you do me a big favor? If you found value in this episode, would you share it with 2 of your closest friends and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode? And if you really want to make this girl's day, would you leave a 5-star review? I do hear an angel gets its wings every time you do that. But really, this helps us spread the message of real-life wellness to even more listeners. And everybody could use a healthy portion of that, right? Now, until next time, remember, you are the chef of your own kitchen. So feed your life well, make good decisions, prioritize your well-being, and remember, you need to take care of you because we only get one of you and you are a gift to everyone around you. So until next week, this is Chef Maria signing off. And just remember, we're here to cook up a good time every single week. We'll see you soon.